Hello, everyone. Welcome to Undying Corruption. This is episode 1 of 10 of our sponsored campaign featuring an amazing adventure book of Korean folklore and mythologies. I am joined here with my lovely cast members, and before I introduce you to all of them, I would love to invite you to please check out the links I'm about to drop in chat. Undying Corruption, you can follow them over on Bluesky, but also please check out the upcoming Black Market Guide to Immortality that will be coming out with more information this summer. So, my wonderful mudang, we are going to start with Faria. Hello, hello, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm so excited to play this together. I heard that we would be playing as these shaman-like characters who help tortured souls emotionally process, and that is exactly my cup of tea. So I'm so excited to jump right into all of this with you. I'm going to be playing a rogue today, and one of my first, which I'm very excited about.
Excellent. So please tell everyone who you are, where we can find you, and all of the good things. And please follow everyone's links in chat.
Oh, yes. Hi. Right, we do this. I'm a full-time content creator, have been for 7 or so years, and I do content based around great stories, good laughter, and constant just joy in the learning process and the growing process. And yeah, that means just like everything. Fitness, TTRPGs. I also do content in like the comedy world and did I say cosplay stuff yet? Maybe not. But yes, you can find me anywhere at Fariha or Ask Fariha on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads and Blue Sky. Yes.
Thank you so much. We'll pop on over to Brandon. Hello.
Hello, Stella. Thanks for letting me into your virtual home. Hey everyone, my name is Brandon. I am a content creator, tabletop stuff mostly. You can find me on places. I'll be playing a class that is specific to Undying Corruption. The class is called a Tactician. And so I'm super excited to showcase this amazing class that the folks at Nine Heavens Press have dreamed up.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We'll pop on over to Kay.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Replay K, aka K. I'm very excited to be joining this campaign. It seems like a really interesting universe. I will be playing a dwarf warlock, and the subclass is also specifically from Undying Corruption. So really excited to explore that.
Thank you very much. And last but certainly not least, one of my best friends. Hello, Frank.
Hello, thank you for having me back. I think this is my third show with you so far here, which is growing, and I'm very excited to be here. It's always beautiful, and you always have such great cast members. I'm Frank or Technique, and I have been on this platform for 11 years, and I've been full-time creating for Jesus. 10. So we've been here for a while. Just got into TTRPGs around 2015-ish, 16, somewhere in there. So a little later than I would expect, like wanted to, but you know, the stereotypes of it all kind of held me back until I was here and found a lot of great people doing it. It was a good way to expand on my acting and improvisation, which I love doing. So here we are. You can find me on Twitch most of the time. I do a lot of competitive games or RPGs, or you can find me on a lot of TTRPGs lately. I'm starting to snake my way almost full-time into TTRPGs. I'm really trying to get there. Today, I'm playing a Gumiho, or, you know, a lot of people probably know it as a Kitsune, but Gumiho in this story, and a bard on top of that. And you know, I like to play complex characters, so here we are. It's gonna be great, and I am very excited to play with all of you cast members and put on a good show. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. We will just jump right into it. We are Mudang of the Black Bear clan. It is our task to serve the commoners of Danguk, to help reverse their fortunes or to help them find closure when those they love have passed. Your work here in Danguk is often done under the instruction of a psychopomp, a Chosong Saja, or a Korean Grim Reaper by the name of Song Ji-hyu. You know from the years that you've been under her instruction that she is unable to directly help people. She must, through those that she's chosen, through those that she's trained, and to those that she calls family, through them, is it only that she is able to try to change and influence the spiritual world as we know it. In the recent years, the philosophy of Luminism, an age of enlightenment and learning, has gathered power in Danguk's government, and as a result, mudang, people like yourself, have been cast in a distancing shadow. Though once you have been reveled and welcomed into various places in Danguk, you have found in the recent years that it is beginning to wane. People turn to science and to logic, away from the spirit realm, to make their decisions. There is a great neglect in the natural balance of things, and it is, unfortunately, something you must painfully bear. We open on a scene that follows an open countryside. It is early spring, so there is a bit of a chill in the air. You can feel it ruffling through the brand new sprouts of rice that are growing on either side of this path, winding up a mountainside. Eventually, it will open up into a swampland. You are currently heading towards the Yuhua province. You see a scene of 4 individuals gathering around what appears to be a shrine. This shrine is very distinct, made of charred wood. Rearing back is a great bear, and at its feet is a box. A wooden box painted with red that when you open, you find a number of papers have been enveloped away and placed inside. You know, as Mudang, it is your charge to find these Black Bear Clan shrines and to see who needs help and what needs to be done. Who among you is the one to open this box and see what your next job is going to be?
Won't be me. I always open the box.
So as we see Suho, you are deliberately not going for the box this time. What do you look like?
I'm very tall and slender build, wearing traditional clothing with my style printed on it. I'm a human. I'm in humanoid form right now, so I'm not, you don't see the bright, vibrant 9 tails. You just see a tall, slender man with a tan skin. But I am very loud with my outfit. I am not subtle at all. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I am quite lazy when it comes to doing my job because I feel that seniority plays a part. So, I also have like kits on me, if you want to so say. I have like bags filled with books and ink and art pieces strapped to my back. It's just not necessary, but it's necessary for me. I'll turn to the others slowly and say, well, there's the box. I vote on seniority. Those that have been here long enough, well, we don't have to open the boxes anymore. Why don't we have the new one, more fresh? One of us do it. Maybe Gangbo. And then I point towards him. I try not to do it in a rude fashion, but it is me playing my seniority card. Precise.
Yes. As Suho points to Kyungbo, everyone sees a very tall, 6.5 foot tall, woodman. This is a Kyungbo is a species uh, familiar in Danguk called a Jangsong. Um, Basically a traditional Korean sort of like totem pole that is placed at the fronts of villages as a way to ward off spirits and wrongdoers coming to the town. And Kyungbo is one of the lucky to have been awakened. Kyungbone is sturdy but slender. You see it, a face, big bulbous cheekbones, large ears, always a great smile on their face. On top of their head is like a splintered wooden fence post, weathered with time. They're wearing a blue joguri with these cream flowy baji pants. And specifically to their side, everyone sees a large gray clay dragon who saddles up next to Kyungbo. And as Suho points to Kyungbo, Kyungbo smiles and looks behind them. Oh, oh, Suho, you mean me? Yeah, of course. I'll take a look. Is there any special things I need to do, or is it just like a normal box?
Well, speaking of seniority, since you may have forgotten, I'll look towards Tashi. Tashi, can you please explain what we do with the box before opening it?
New recruits are always like this, huh? You just unlatch it in the middle, you pull out the pin, open it, and there you go.
Well, that's not quite everything you do. You want to make sure you check it for curses first.
Well, yes, but usually you can see,
Troublemaker.
right?
All right. Okay, so just unlatch it and curses after. All right. Let me take a look. Kyungbo saddles up next to the box and unlatches it and pops it open.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me the very first roll of the game, everyone. Woo!
Ooh.
Roll me a sleight of hand.
All right. Ooh, there we go. That is a 17.
Very good. Dexterously, very carefully, you pull out what appears to be a brass pin and you open the latch. As you swing it open, you can see that time has weathered a lot of the paint that has been cast onto the face of this box. You see, as you're looking at the edges of the doors being pulled open, the paint has bled and there is some neglect here to this craftsmanship. You see inside that there is a gathering of dirt that must have snaked its way in between the door jamb here. And there is, interestingly enough, only a single envelope.
Wow, we've hit the jackpot, everyone. We got one envelope. Wow. This is a big day. Well, we can head back home now.
Suho will feel a cold hand on his shoulder as I come up a little closer and I say, "Hey, told you, no curses."
Yeah, unfortunate.
We see a sudden brisk wind pick up. And Kyungbo, as you look at the single envelope in the box, it begins to whip up into this invisible breeze, and it heads in the direction of Kangbu. Can you please describe to me what Kangbu will do to try to grab this envelope and what they look like?
Yep. Kangbu's been standing this whole time, arms crossed, He has long, slick black hair pulled up high in a top bun. He has a full beard in classic dwarven fashion that falls to just above his belly. He's short even for a dwarf, but he carries himself with confidence. He rarely slouches. He makes eye contact, but his eyes reveal little. He hides his emotions behind a almost constant stern expression, with some wrinkles even forming after decades of scaling. His complexion is a little tanned from years of missions in the overworld. He sees this letter flowing towards him and just instinctively snatches it out of the air. So, should I read this now, or did seniority want to take over?
Oh no, please, by all means.
Absolutely not.
All right, then. He slips a finger under the envelope and cracks it open and pulls out a letter.
Yes.
I presume.
Yes, you see that the wax seal is very easily broken here. It bears the symbol of what is presumably an aristocratic house of some kind. By design, it isn't recognizable to you, so it must be one of the more petty lords. You pull out a piece of paper that actually seems to be a higher quality than you might have originally anticipated. It asks you to please head to Unsan, a town in the Yeohua province. It says there that a Lord Wan wants you to exorcise a spirit plaguing his wife.
Spirits, wife. Okay, seems like a pretty simple mission for us. We're to head to Unsan and exorcise a spirit. Simple as.
No. Simple enough.
Yes, we'll have to find a Lord Wan, it says.
Ah. Well, should be on our way then. I will then clap my hands and a map will appear in front of us. I say, go ahead, mark the way. It'll update and should update to all your other maps as well.
Oh, cool.
Excellent.
You easily map out the path to Unsan and you begin to make your way. You find a deep countryside, somewhat marshy and swamp-like, beginning to swallow the way deeper into the territory. As you begin to approach, you see that there is a small mining village. You pass by knowing that these are not the folk that you are looking for, and instead you begin to head towards what appears to be a much more elaborate estate. There are stone walls painted and elaborate with clay shingles atop them that essentially gate around this manor from the rest of the village. It is up on a hillside. The trek there is simple enough, and as you, Mudang, begin to make your way through Unsan, heading towards Lord Wan's estate, you can see that there are a number of eyes on you. Can I get insight or perception checks from each one of you? You'll get different information depending on what you choose. That is a 17 perception from Kangbu.
I did perception, got a 12.
Okay.
Was perception or what?
Perception or insight. Yep. An 18 insight from our dear Tashi.
Sorry, I am looking for the button. Too many different sheets.
You were so good. It should be on the left-hand side in the long list of different skills you have.
Right. Okay. I don't know why I was looking for a single one.
And they should be alphabetical order.
I think I'm gonna go with perception.
Okay. Wow. Very nice. 22 perception from Suho.
Ooh.
Okay. So, as the group of you are moving along, Suho, you are the first to notice that there is great attention on your party. This is nothing new, but it almost feels as if people are holding their breath. anticipating, their eyes bearing into your backs. Do you respond? Do you adjust? How does Suho react to this attention?
I'm typically, when I walk, I flow with strides and my posture means everything. It's all about show for me. When I notice eyes are digging into us, there's a side of me that does snap. My eyes, instead of just moving my head slowly, I snap towards someone and they widen and my neck cricks towards them. And you'll see a smile creep up on the right side of my face and bears teeth. And then I adjust myself and catch up with the others.
What of Kengbu? When you see these eyes on you, you shift?
I think Kangbu would keep an eye on that direction and perhaps adjust his stride to give a silent notification to the rest of his party, but keep walking as if nothing is out of the ordinary.
Hashi, you taste almost fear coming from these people. There is a sense of anxiety buzzing in the air. It's almost electricity. What do you do? How do you react to this?
She is used to this, unfortunately. And unlike Suho, who has taken it on in stride and lets it fuel his spite, you see that she refuses to meet the gaze of others because she is a tiefling. And tieflings in this world are treated with an extra layer of suspicion. Unlike what we know in the rest of D&D, in the world of Undying Corruption, tieflings are thought of often as being touched by the underworld, being touched by death itself. And that is more true of her than she'd like most to know. So you see this medium-sized figure made larger by a huge cloak and a billowing hood, who has this pale, almost grayish blue skin that fades into a darker blackish blue at the top of her head as it fades into these black horns that jut out. She is touched by these flower-like patterns that are etched into the blues and the grays and the blacks, with these striking yellow eyes that she keeps trained on the path ahead. Because she's someone who is often regarded with a lot of suspicion, hostility, and anxiety. And she feels like she deserves it sometimes. But
what is your passive perception?
Passive perception is so many sheets. Now where is this? Oh yes, 13.
You swear you hear someone whisper on the side, a commoner to another, saying, I wonder how they died.
I wish some hearing loss would have set in by this age, but here we are.
As you continue along, Kyungbo, you find that it isn't really you that garners the most attention. It is your companion. Are you astride of Chap Chap or on top of them?
Astride, I think, right next to Chop Chop. Hey, little guy. It's okay. You can Chop Chop's real friendly. They love kids, and there won't. If you want to give them a little neck rub, they really appreciate that.
As you address this commoner and you invite them to a closer inspection of Chop Chop, we hear the sound of ceramic clinking against each other as Chop Chop's head turns towards this individual. Can you describe what Chop Chop's face looks like?
Oh, yes. Very their face elongated snout, very rectangular in shape. Given that they are gray clay, they are completely gray. So it's hard to discern any sort of coloration changes, just like small texture changes of small, very weathered scales that seem to be sort of throughout their face. Large, flowing mane, even though that it's of clay. It seems to billow in the wind as if Chop Chop was soaring through the sky. Also, along their long, sort of like a little bit sturdier body than many traditional Eastern Asian dragons. Um, Along their body, they have writing in red ink. Seems to start on their belly and kind of climb their way up, about halfway up, sort of their a belly up towards their back. And Chop Chop kind of pretty goofy guy. Sort of like clambers along and is often gets distracted, sniffing the flowers, and then gallops a little bit towards Kyungbo. But I think in this moment in the town, Chop Chop is very close to Kyungbo in this moment.
The group of you make your way towards the estate, and as you do, you see that there is an attendant that greets you. You see a dwarven woman, and she bows from the hips, folding her hands into her lap, a deep and respectful gesture. You see that her long braid spills over her shoulder as she does this gesture and straightens very slowly. Good afternoon, Mudang. I could see you coming up the path from down the hill. I hope your travels have found you well. It has been a week since we posted a request for some person of your specialty.
I do a slight bow. The importance is that we are here now. You received your letter.
Excellent. Please follow me. And as you enter into the state, you can see that it seems pretty well off. It seems as if there is a great maintenance of the estate here, and there's deliberate care put into the maintenance of the various porcelain and ceramic jars that are about. You catch a gentle whiff of vegetables fermenting, of spice, as you see that there is an attendant actively packing away some kimchi, and it seems to be about to bury it into the ground. She begins to approach a wooden platform, and you see that she takes her deliberate time to pull off her slippers. You would know that it is appropriate that when you are about to enter a building to take off your shoes before you make your way in. She approaches a wooden door that, instead of windows, it has rice paper panels, and very gently, as she comes to a kneeling position beside it, she begins to open it. Inside, you can see that there is a square room with straw mats strewn about the flooring here. There is a single short, dark wooden table and a number of colorful cushions positioned around it. It appears to be a sort of receiving room or a lobby or a meeting room. It may be some time before Lord Wan can see you. Make yourselves comfortable, please. And she bows her head again.
Right then.
I think Kyungbo, as they're walking up to this royal house, I think Kyungbo looks up at the gables of the house, the roof. Are there any japsang atop the roof?
Go ahead and roll me perception.
Oh, that's a natural one. How about that?
I like to imagine that though this is something that you naturally seek out and something that you check pretty regularly, that there's something that distracts you. You see that Chop Chop is very interested in this kimchi and seems to be annoying the individual at work here. Hear a clinking of the clay plates that make his body as this individual recoils, trying to hold the kimchi pot away.
Oh, don't worry. Chop Chop is a good buddy. Won't hurt a fly.
Yes. And you see, demure and trying not to draw too much attention to themselves, they cast their eyes down, they simply close the jar, and they begin to scurry away.
Oh, Miss, do you need help burying the kimchi?
She sort of bows at you, but continues to leave, and eventually she disappears behind a building. You see that there is a half-buried pot of kimchi, very thick clay, very dark.
I think Kyungbo scratches Chop Chop on the top of their head. Goes, well, it's alright, buddy. We'll make friends one day. Maybe with these mudang, they'll be our friends. Why don't we get inside?
As the group of you make your way inside, you find that it is actually a few hours before you are given a meeting with Lord Wan. The dwarven woman who attended you, she comes in and she offers small snacks, small treats and beverages. She pours you some barley tea and she offers you some Korean rice cakes. A few of them are savory, a few of them are sweet. There is an assortment of freshly cut fruit given to you. And there's a deep apology in her eyes that she doesn't quite voice as you are given this not so grand welcome. You see that it is beginning to get dark outside. By the time you hear the door open again, you see her, and she opens the door to somebody else. Lord Wan is a powerful looking figure. He wears elaborate clothing, and you can see that there is a certain quality to him. Sort of dewiness, a sort of freshness, stately air about him. Can I get perception or insight checks from everybody?
17 perception.
Okay.
Oof.
Okay. That is a 6 from Hingbu, an 11 from Suho, and a 14 from Tashi. Okay. Kyungbo, with that 17 perception, you can see that Lord Wan is sweating quite a bit. This dewiness is actually perspiration. It's a bit unusual. Perhaps you will have to describe to me how you perceive temperature and weather. You can get the sense that this is unusual, comparing him to the others. None of your companions are sweating. None of the individuals outside were sweating. It's a bit on the colder side.
Hello, Lord Wan. Did you just exorcise?
You see this man cast a narrowing glance at you. What? No, you're here to exorcise my wife. And he turns his attention to the others. Mudang. So, it is, with great reluctance that I invite you to my home. I wish that we could have met on different circumstances. It will soon be midnight. I must speak to you on the nature of this affliction on my wife. Perhaps you will join me.
Your wife? What ails her at midnight?
A strange possession, creature of foul intent. It has tried to kill me, but I know that my sweet dear wife, she would not do such a thing to me, not willingly.
And what have you done in the meantime? When midnight strikes?
We have tried tying her down. We have tried to restrain her. She does not seem to remember these fits that come over her. A darkness plagues her mind and her perception. She is unable to recall such violent act.
Do you recall any moments of difficulty, anything striking that might have been traumatic or burdensome before it all began?
I can tell that there's a bit of a dismissive air. And it isn't pointed only at you, Tashi. You can get the sense that this is to all of you. Perhaps Lord Wan doesn't enjoy the company of Mudang. And he says, "Ha! What could possibly be amiss in my wife's life? She lives in this beautiful home. She wants for nothing, and I provide. She is happy. She is loved. There's no trauma here." Now, it is only moments before this sickness will come over her. No funny business, all right? I don't know much about how you Mudang work, but something needs to give. And without much ceremony, he begins to turn away, and he walks deeper into the estate. You see the dwarven handmaiden bow her head very deeply, almost as if to apologize for her lord, and she gestures through the open door.
Seems like a nice guy.
Seems like they had a miscarriage.
I was thinking the same thing, actually. Something's amiss here.
Or it's a bird trapped in a gilded cage moment. The owner wondering, how could the bird ever be so unhappy? It has a golden home. We'll see.
Is the maiden still in the room with us?
She's just outside, so if you want to have a private conversation, you can. But she doesn't seem to hear anything that you were saying right now. You see that Lord Wan has just walked off and is definitely not anywhere in earshot right now.
Maybe I should go speak with the maiden. See if anyone else lived here before that he's not telling us.
Ooh, good idea.
Maybe you three can look around, see if there's any items that may hold on, spirits may hold on to that were here before. Rattles,
I like that.
books.
See
I'll
if
be
the
back.
rooms tell a story.
Yeah. And don't worry. I won't do anything out of the ordinary. I'll slip away outside to go see the handmaiden.
Okay. As you begin to approach, she lifts her head and she says, "Please, if you will follow me, midnight is only a few minutes away, and we might require all of you."
Oh, I was coming to speak to you alone, but if you require the others, that can be done. But before I do, I need to know, are they alone, or is there anyone else? Be a little one? A child?
You see a flush take her face, and she shakes her head. No, I don't believe it's any of that sort of direction. My lady,
Mhm.
I will say, and she lowers her voice, leaning in towards you, I will say that she seems at peace here during the day, but it is during the night that these spells overcome her. She is otherwise in decent health, but we fear for a decline if this state is to worsen.
So no one else, just those two and the servants here?
You can see a hesitance. She seems to have a question in her eyes. Can you roll me a perception check?
Yes, I can. Here we go.
24. Very good. You can get the sense that she's biting her lip and she's literally holding back saying something. You are, after all, a stranger, so it makes sense. She's a handmaiden. Maybe she might know something or two. She says, "We can speak soon. We must go. There's only a few minutes."
As she turns, my position, my facial structure starts to bend and my jaws start to come out a bit. And I grab my face. As I smell a sweet lie, it intrigues me. Knowledge is something that I very much hunger for. Leads me down a dark path. I grip my face, turn away, and I say yes. Bite my tongue and turn to the others and slip back inside after taking off my shoes once again. Come now. Things are about to get very interesting.
And here you said you weren't going to do anything wild out there.
And I cover my face and smile and laugh. No, I won't. I won't. I'm a professional. Come. And they're hiding something.
I think Kyungbo pulls Kangbu aside as Tashi and Suho walk ahead. Goes, are they always this creepy?
That's one word to describe it, but in time you'll see that it's these personalities that bring a little bit of chaos and fun to our missions.
Do I need to do that?
Be yourself. Oh, and I'll make you a kimchi later.
Thanks.
No problem.
Let's go.
Let's go outside, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna bring all of you to this map.
Pretty.
Wow.
Look at that.
You see that the estate, as you're maneuvering through it, you pass by a few open doors, and peeking inside some of these private rooms, it reflects a frantic mind, a master of books and parchment being strewn about. There is a measure of disorganization in these private areas. You are led further and further into the Hanok, this home. And if you are to take a stray step aside, you see that the dwarven maiden quickly steps forward and ushers you along. There is great urgency to her behest. "Please, there's only a few moments, please. We want you to see everything that there possibly could be to find." As you enter into what appears to be a private bedroom, you see that there is an elaborate, thick floor mattress, and on it is a woman. She appears to be somewhat sickly, sweating, resting, breathing haggardly. And you see that she is wrapped tightly in a blanket, and underneath it peaks white robes, the underrobes of what would presumably be part of a hanbok. You see that her hair is strewn about in a disheveled manner. And when you enter into this private room, you see Lord Juan almost as far away as possible from her, and he is currently biting the sides of his fingertips. He nervously looks between the group of you and his wife.
I think at this moment, Kyungbo looks around at their companions and seemingly just like rubs their wooden hand just a bit, and off of his hand sort of small little like motes of gentle light emit, and Kyungbo's gonna use one of their stratagem abilities, which tacticians receive, and they're going to use an ability called Steady as We Go, which each creature within 30 feet can roll one of my stratagem die, which is a d6, and add the result when making investigation or perception checks for 1 hour.
Okay. Do you want to target all of your companions here?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So please roll a 1d6, each one of you. Okay.
Got a 4.
Excellent.
Got a 5.
Okay.
I got it too.
All right. So you can pocket those as bonuses for any investigation rolls. As Kyungbo, you are doing this, what does this look like? You can take total creative license and liberty here. Just paint an aesthetic picture for us of what it looks like to use your stratagem.
Yeah, I think that it is. There isn't much of a thought behind it for Kyungbo. They're kind of aimlessly looking around the room, taking in the scenery. Jop almost mirroring their sort of appearance, looking around. And I think it is something that Kyungbo isn't even quite aware that happens for themselves. And I think sort of just gently the room lightens just a bit for their companions. The dark corners become a little less dim. The sharpness of everything for Kyungbo's companions sort of intensifies just a touch.
As you do this, you see that there are a number of candles strewn about that provide most of the light here. And intensity comes from this innate ability that Kyungbo accesses, and it seems to heighten and intensify the light of these candles. Heat almost begins to radiate off of them. You can see that there are coils of smoke coming off of small pieces of incense that permeate the space. There's a heavily earthy smell here. There's an electricity in the air, a reverberation of some kind. You feel your nostrils flare as your heightened spiritual sensing opens the atmosphere as it shifts around you. There's almost something like a dark gravity that opens up in your gut. You feel it seeping through the walls and the ceilings of this bedchamber.
Kyungba looks over to Lord Wan as another drip of perspiration slides down his cheek. Don't worry, Lord Wan. The mudang will take care of this.
Continues biting his nails. You can clearly see that he is so nervous now. He leans up against the wall, almost trying to make himself smaller. Yeah. My wife had high hopes for you. Please, I beg you, save her.
As he says this, I will hit my chest. Something will shoot into my mouth and I'll pull it out. It'll be a soul flame. And it will just float in midair and be available for anyone that's going to make any kind of ability check or roll in the next turn. If possible, it'll be a bardic inspiration. The soul flame will move towards that individual and splash upon their body, and a light flame will fall upon them and then dissipate. And you will gain a D6 within the next 10 minutes.
Okay. You see the woman laying down, gasps. Her eyes turn sharply over to the group of you, and they are wide, full of fear. She is gasping in soft, quick breaths. Here. She scans over you, and her eyes hook over to her husband. You can see her hand reach out, almost as if trying to grab him. He recoils further. Breathe, she croaks. I can't breathe. Her breathing becomes labored. Her body begins to violently spasm, and she shakes as beads of sweat begin to pour down her forehead. It's about to happen. Ready yourselves. What do we see as we're looking at each one of you? You only have a split second before something might happen.
I'll take out an ink brush and then I'll lean against the wall and wait. Why does this take so long? That's it for me.
I think Kengu sets down his traveler's pack, his spice pouch, his pot, all his accessories, and wields his quarterstaff in preparation.
Okay. Ashi.
Ashi is going to spill a little bit of oil on the floor in front of where, what was the man's name again? Lord
Juan.
Lord Wan's feet. And prepare.
Hey. I want to put oil in front of him. Right? Like this? The map? Okay. Very good. I'll say that you're going to be closest to him as you're doing this.
I think Kyungbo is looking at the rest of their mudang companions, and as they see everyone readying for something, pulls Chop Chop just a bit closer and kind of a little clumsily reaches back for their weapon.
Hey, we're going to say that this is Chop Chop here. Just so they're on the map.
I don't know if this is a free action or not. Is my animated inks piece?
You want to summon it? You can do that if you want. This will be your last chance.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, this looks like we're gonna have to actually do labor. And I'll snap my fingers, and the ink brush would appear again. It'll grow a bit larger. It'll go from something that you hold in one hand that I was spinning around into a larger, probably about this big. As this ink brush can sometimes and will get very large, and I'll do paint strokes in the midair as the air thickens and the paint strokes go from a dark black into a scarlet red. You'll see a slash happen, and hands will grip and pull apart and plop out. Oh, it looks kind of creepy. It's kind of cute at the same time. It almost looks like a wooden forest spirit. It typically it takes form of things that we encounter to what we're go up against. Since I don't know, I made something a little more accepting because I know how nervous the husband is. And it'll just kind of flop out and roll, and it has bells all over it. And it'll roll to itself, from his head to its bottom, and kind of plop there, and then tilt his head up, and then stand up slowly, and reach his hands out.
As this happens, a moment of silence washes over the room. You can hear the erratic breathing of the woman, the wife, as suddenly it stops, and slowly, calmly, her head turns towards her husband, and she opens her mouth to speak. Instead, you hear a grim voice.
Man, Songju.
And as this happens, she suddenly begins to rise, almost as if possessed by some other means. And I'm gonna need everyone, please select with tokens and roll for initiative.
You. My ink piece does share my initiative as well.
Okay.
Yes, and I believe Jop shares mine.
Yes.
Uh-oh. So I rolled a 16.
Okay. Lady Lee So-Hyun has rolled a 16. Oh, very nice. We have a 15 from Soho, and we have a 18 from Kengbu, and a 22 from Tashi. All right. You hear a guttural as she lunges forward, knocking over candles. And just before we get into combat, we are going to go on a quick break. So please join me in doing a little stretch, grab some water, and please check out our links that we're about to drop in chat. We have coming up the Black Market Guide to Immortality coming out this summer. So we'll be right back, everybody. Hang tight. 5 minutes. And we are back. Thank you for your patience, everybody. At the top of the turn order, Tashi, as you begin to ready yourself, you see that there is something completely unnatural about the way that the lady stands. You hear a crunching of her bones as she lifts up and fights against the restraints. As the blanket falls away, you can see that she has been tied down as much as possible. She fights against them. There is an opportunity here to try to do something. You can resort to violence immediately if you like. That's totally up to you. But you are also welcome to try other things as well. So this turn order is just to kind of put everything into a timed manner. And you are the first and swiftest to respond. What do you want to try to do here? As you see her jaw open again with another.
Oh, this is so interesting. How is she moving against the restraints? Is it that she's found this newfangled strength in her muscles, and it's almost tearing her like bones and tendons a little bit?
Oh yeah, something has taken into her. She's possessed by something that is much stronger than her actual physical form.
On her person, do I see any rings, any kind of jewelry, anything significant that I can immediately take note of as, oh, this has personal value to her?
So I'll give you a choice here. I can give you some cursory information. You wouldn't be able to get like more details, like as far as like jewelry and stuff, as she's like frantically moving. If you want more details, I'll say you have to roll an investigation. It will use your action for this turn. It's up to you. You do basically get a surprise round here.
Okay. I'm really curious. I have an ability that's a mudang specialty called read psychometric resonance, which means that I can touch an object and read a psychic impression left on it by the previous owner or by the person who owns it now. And it can detect any kind of lingering emotional resonance that's attached to it. So I would like to do that if I spot any, jewelry. Would that be a perception roll then?
Okay, let's say you'll have to essentially get into melee range. If you want to roll a perception, I can give you all the information that you roll, but it will use your action. If you want to use the read psychometric resonance, it will take an action. So as a compromise here, I'll say if you go right up to her, you'll be able to see what you need to see, and then you can try to do what you want to do.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay, so feel free to move your token to whatever direction you want that is adjacent to her.
Oh, all right.
For simplicity of there being a grid, I'm going to move her here.
Okay, I'm going to go right there.
Okay. Very good. Okay, now go ahead and roll me a perception check. I'll give you this for free.
Incredible. Do. Could I add the... I remember that the thing that Kyungbo gave us was for investigation. That doesn't apply here, right?
And perception. So
And perception.
would. Yes.
So okay. I would love to add that if I could.
Yeah.
So perception is here.
Okay. So that'd be an 18. All right. With an 18, you can see between the frantic movements and the jerking of her body, her hair has fallen loose and free, and you see a pin fall to the ground that was tucked into her hair. It appears to be almost like a lotus flower, a flattened pin meant for the hair as an accessory.
And could I use my action then to pick it up and put it between my palms and see if I read anything from it?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's change the music here. As you snatch it up with all of your dexterity and swiftness, what does it look like and what does it feel like as you try to sink into the emotional weight and the emotional history of things?
You see as Tashi almost visibly sinks into the floor with a quick and it's the slightest motion, but you could swear there's like a plume of black smoke that emanates off of her, with these like blue and black petals that come up that look a little bit like, almost like the wings of a blue morpho butterfly. And you see as this energy radiates out from these palms that she presses up against this hairpin. And her visage, her skin, it grows darker for a moment as she pours all of that energy into what she's sensing right now. And what do I sense in the moment?
Yes. So as you access the psychometric resonance, which is one of the mudang specialties that you can choose for your characters, these are essentially home rules that are provided inside of the Undying Corruption book. So it is up to you if you want to include these into your game. And we've chosen to give each character a specialty to begin with. That way they have just that little bit of oomph, of the little bit of like focus of what they wanted to do and become as mudang. As you let it seep into you, bleed into you, you are filled with an emotion of longing, an emotion of lost love, the sensation of a connection unmade. You smell a flower field. Nothing too extravagant, perhaps just an open summer evening on top of a hill somewhere. And you, for the briefest of moments, see two people's pinkies touch. The owners of those pinkies, they are on the fringe of your perception here. They're blurred, identities lost in time. Just as quickly as you let this swallow into you, it vanishes. How do you react to this?
If you look closer through the plume of like smoke and this black mist, you see tears running down my face. Have I smelled those flower fields before?
Yes, in the sense of it's common. It's not anything special. It's just
Okay.
a flower field somewhere.
Gathers herself with a deep breath.
As you focus yourself and pull in back to your senses around you, you see the lady's head turn towards you. She lets out another shriek. Okay. I believe that will be your turn, unless you want to do a bonus action.
Could I use my cunning action to, I think it's called a karmic mediator, to use my cunning action to take a ready action?
You can do that. Can you describe to me more about this?
You mean in terms of lore or in terms of what the ability in the homebrew is?
The ability, please. Can you read it out to us?
Of course. So this is something special to my specific type of rogue, which is very specific to Undying Corruption. It's called the Naraka Prosecutor. And one thing that you get at level 3 is a thing called Karmic Mediator, meaning that your movements become one with the ripples and waves of karma pressuring the universe. And you can use your cunning action to take a ready action. And if you deal sneak attack damage from a ready attack, the target takes physical damage equal to the rolls a total in place of the original sneak attack damage.
All right. Very good. Okay, that will be your turn. Ingbu, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
I think I'd like to scan around the room, maybe for like claw marks or like anything out of place in the vicinity from previous hauntings.
Okay. Do you want to do a cursory investigation here or something a little more thorough?
Yeah, I think I'll spend my action to be a little more thorough on this.
Okay. Please roll me investigation. And then you do get the bonus from Kyungbo here.
Okay. Oh god, okay, so that's a 7 and then plus 4 from the bonus. So 12, 11?
11. Okay. Even with an 11, you look around and you can see that the candlelight licks the walls and it highlights these deep grooves. You can see that there have been signs of violence here, perhaps not so fresh as today, but it's a bit uncertain how long that this has been going on. There has been effort, visible effort, to try to cover it up, try to clean it up, some semblance of trying to restore normalcy to this private room. The scars are there. Whatever is happening right now, it has happened before.
Okay.
And I will say that even with an 11, you get the sense that this is definitely a possession. You've seen something like this before.
I muttered to the group, it's another violent one, I think. I'll use my bonus action to use Regalia of the Death God, which is a feature specific to the subclass for this campaign. So essentially, you see Kangbu undo his overcoats. You see his shadow sort of wrap around him, and teal and violet-like emanations from him. If you get close enough, they're very cold. This gives me essentially bonus AC, resistance to necrotic damage. Against undead creatures, I ignore their resistance to necrotic damage, and then I can also, as a bonus action, if I use a curse or a mark on a target, I can make them have a charisma saving throw, which will effectively stop their movement.
Excellent. Would you like to move at all?
No, I think I'll stay in place, and that'll be my turn.
Okay. Kyungbo, it is your turn.
Right. I think Kyungbo's gonna move over towards Lord Juan. First I want to see what he's doing. How he's doing in this moment.
He looks like he's going to try to run away.
Yeah.
He's scrabbling Looney Tunes in place, about to just book it.
Yeah. I think Kyungbo looks over to Lord Juan and goes, "Oh, wow. This is a lot for this late at night. Anything that helps your wife relax in these sorts of moments?"
I don't know. Isn't that what you're supposed to know? You figure out? That's why you're here.
Lord Juan, what's your favorite smell?
What? My favorite smell?
What's your favorite smell?
Money.
Huh. And I think Kyungbo's gonna use one of their mudang abilities, Beseech Spirit Wisp. They gained access to Druidcraft, so they're gonna Druidcraft the smell of a crisp dollar bill wafting underneath Lord Juan's nose.
Okay. He seems taken aback by this, and he just stops in place for a moment, seems to hesitate in continuing his escape here. Tries to subconsciously reach for the air here. Huh?
Would you like to get on Chop Chop? They'll make sure you're safe.
Yes, please.
Chop Chop. And Chop Chop bounds over to the other side of the room, and kind of leans down for Lord Juan to astride this clay dragon.
Yeah, effectively, he will just hop on there. And Chop Chop will have enough movement to actually take him out of the room if you want to do that.
Make sure the Lord is safe. Okay, Chop Chop?
You hear an affirmative clinking of clay as this long, slender clay body begins to snake out of the room. Lord Juan has his arms wrapped around its neck. Whoa! And the two of them
clanking
escape.
around. Yeah.
Hey.
And I guess Kemba will just take another few steps forward and brandish from their back a large, like, it looks like basically like a trunk of a tree that has been sort of like over time weathered to fit perfectly the massive the massive hand of Kyungbo. There's like grooves where the fingers rest perfectly, and Kyungbo grabs this weapon. And you see out from the sides of this club basically are just a small like thorny like spikes that seem to have been like hardened with repeated smashes on things. They are weathered and like almost like rusty brown gray with time and use, and brandishes their bangmangi in front of them, ready for whatever comes. And that will be Kyungbo's turn.
All right. You see that the lady has been fighting against the restraints, crying out in this unhinged, unearthly wail, and hasn't really been focusing on any of you. Tashi, you being so close, you would have seen that her eyes were completely transfixed in the direction of Lord Juan. And as Lord Juan is swept out of the room, her eyes have followed completely. And when he is gone, they snap onto you. And you can feel all of the hatred, all of the hunger just bleeding out of her. You get the sense that she now identifies you as your enemy. On her turn, she breaks the restraints. You hear wood snap underneath as she rips free of them, and she turns towards Tashi. That'll be her turn. Suho, it is your turn.
I'll look towards Kyungbo and be like, we were supposed to save her, not dash her into another existence.
Oh.
And I kind of smile and laugh. Yes.
You're the boss. I just get confused in these situations, that's all.
It's okay. Save it for what comes out. And I'll clap my hands and separate them and put them near my mouth as I will try to get the attention of the lady of the house by doing vicious mockery.
Ooh.
And this is to get the attention, and I will do a follow-up in a bit. But yes, I will scream out vicious mockery. Let's see.
You unleash a string of insults laced with subtle enchantments at a creature you see within range. If they can hear you, and it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw. Okay. Unfortunately, the lady has rolled an 18, so she saves against your 14. But what does this look like as it doesn't quite get the effect you're looking for? Why does it go wrong?
When I use this speech, I do it in whispers. I'm still learning. I use ancient tongue instead of like using common, and it's more of a whispers, but it doesn't reach her ear because I believe, as I noticed the husband being taken out and how her attention was on him mostly. I say, oh, I'm not used to being ignored. And I will then snap both fingers, and the ink, living ink piece that I have will then stand up, and his head will kind of click almost like a clock and turn towards the lady of the house and run up to her, and we'll do, okay, So, it's going to do ink slam
Okay.
on her, and this will
Ooh.
be this. Okay, and it says, wait, I don't know if it hits or not.
An 11 will be a miss, unfortunately.
Okay.
It's very close, though.
Gonna work on that. And that, wait, I thought I moved mine. I did. Okay, and that, I have double? What's going on? Am I creating more than one by accident?
No, no, there was one. You might have to
Okay.
refresh if there's a visual error.
Yeah, it looks like I'm creating multiple.
No, it's okay. Here. There it is.
Because I moved one, it was like 4 of them there. All right.
They're multiplying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very.
you
okay.
see your ink piece go boom, and
There
it
we go.
hits the bed, hits the floor mattress here that she had been laying on, and with supernatural speed, she dives out of the way.
We have to restrain her. And that'll be it for my turn.
Okay.
And my Inky's turn.
Okay. Valiant actions are something that you can do when your Chosong's Haja, your boss, is around, but she's not here right now, so we're just gonna ignore that. At the top of the turn order here, you see the lady whipping her head around, looking at all of you, and the voice comes out again.
Wan Songju. You must die.
Can I get an perception check from all of you? That is a 4 from Kengbu, a 22 from Toho.
Plus the study as we go bonus as well.
Oh,
Yes.
it's not single use? Okay.
No, for 1 hour until
Oh,
I move
amazing.
concentration.
Wow, holy crap.
Moly, that's the
Wow.
27 then, I guess.
Suho is 27. We get a
14 from
14 from Tashi.
Got a
So
10.
that ability that you gave us, does that work on all actions or just investigation, like perception?
It is investigation and perception checks for
Great.
1 hour.
Awesome. Thank you.
Incredible.
Hell yeah. Okay, with that 27, Suho, you hearing this voice, perhaps you have a keen ear for art and for song. You are able to determine that this voice has been distorted. This is the voice of a different person, a different entity, a different creature. This possession has a spirit coming in. They seem to be speaking through the lady. This is not the lady talking. And with such a high roll here, I'm going to say that you can tell that there is a masculine graveliness to it. You get the sense that this is perhaps not a woman.
Oh, interesting. It seems like the Lord has wronged someone. This is not the lady of the house speaking. This is someone else, or masculine. We must pull the spirit out at all costs. But
But
try
sorry.
not to destroy the lady. That's all.
You would know that because this is not your first rodeo, that knocking out someone is a way to deal with this situation if you want to. If violence does become the answer. Top of the turn order, Tashi, it is your turn.
All right. Is she still looking at me?
Yes. She looks like she wants to tear out your throat.
Ooh. I turn to her and I say, listen, I'm not the one who took your lady. And I am... Oh, would this be the first attack on her?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to be the one to break this?
Well, the paintbrush tried to.
That's
Yes.
true.
You tried and missed. Yep.
So you're one after the paintbrush.
Okay, okay. I feel less bad. I think
If
I'm
you
going
want
to do
some
that.
If you want some alternate options, especially because like this wouldn't be your first time doing something like this, you would know that you can try to grapple them, you can try to restrain them again, you can try to knock them out, whether you have an ability or a spell or literally just doing non-lethal damage. Or you can try to use some other mudang specialties depending on what you have chosen at character creation.
Okay. I think I know what I would like to do. Tashi is going to move with the dexterity that you would expect, not from a rogue, but from a practiced martial artist, a practitioner of Tai Chi, someone who knows the anatomy of the body. Because she understands that when certain violent possessions like these take a hold of somebody, they're going to cause fractures, they're going to cause muscle damage, but she knows how to slice along certain tendons and certain muscles along with the striations so that it causes minimal damage, but it prevents them from accessing that kind of same strength. And so to prevent her from lashing out and to try to immobilize her a little bit more, Tashi is going to take a swipe with her rapier up the left leg of the lady of the house.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me an attack roll, please.
All right, that would be a.
Wow, holy crap. Okay, 24 is definitely a hit. Armor class of this creature is 12. So go ahead and roll some damage. If you click on the word rapier underneath the 24 there, it'll roll the damage for you.
And I don't have sneak attack modifier right now, even though I have ready as an action. 'Cause she's looking
So
right at me.
I will say, as a rogue, you do get sneak attack if you have a companion next to it, and the ink beast does count as a companion, so you technically do have sneak attack damage right now.
Oh, incredible!
Unfortunately, for your readied action specifically, I don't think that would count right here.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Mhm.
So that would be a. Would I roll that and then roll this as well?
It's already included. You can see the 7 on top there.
Oh yes. Okay. Okay.
Yes. So that's a 7 sneak attack and a 6 piercing. So that will be 13 damage here.
And to make it clear, my attacks right now aiming for non-lethal.
Yes. You make a dexterous slice here, precision and care put into it, and you hear this Akyong, this undead, this unearthly creature, whatever that she has become in this moment, cries out in pain and swipes at the air by you. That is a devastating hit. Anything else for your turn?
I think as a bonus action, just disengage.
Okay.
And I'd like to move back to about. Back to about here, even, if possible.
Okay. Yes. So you swiftly move towards the corner of the room, and she swipes at the air where you were and gets nothing but the smoke coming off of your body from that psychometric resonance. All right. Next in the turn order is Kengbu.
All right. Just to double check, can you cast 2 spells if one is a cantrip, like cantrip action, bonus action, hunter's mark is my plan?
So in my campaigns, I say do the fun thing. Go ahead, as long as you follow the heart of what the intention of the spell is. I don't care. It's totally fine. So yes, you can do that.
Cool. Yeah, I get hunter's mark as part of the subclass. So actually, let me counting 10. Okay, I'm gonna mosey behind this oil over here first.
Okay.
And then I'll cast hunter's mark onto
Okay.
Lady Lee.
Can you describe to me what your hunter mark look like?
Yeah, he basically just flicks his hand, and you see like a little wisp of teal flame shoot out and just sort of like hovers around the top of his head. And then he will sort of put two fists together, forming a beam of crackling energy in his palms that shoots out towards Lady Lee.
Okay.
Let's see how that goes.
15 is a hit. Okay. 8 force damage here. 5 hunter's mark. Very good. That is 13 damage.
And I'm going for non-lethal as well.
Yes. So as you let this off, there is a crackling sound that spikes through the air as this force magic explodes and hits her in the chest. She stumbles from the blow and her head snaps in your direction. Anything else for you?
No, that'll be my turn.
Okay. Youngbo, it is your turn.
Kyungbo's like heard what Suho said to them about not hurting the lady, and looking around at Tashi and Kangbu start walloping on her, and is frozen for a second. It goes and starts running towards Lady Lee and just tries to form tackle her and just get her like grappled.
Okay.
Plan.
Did you want to try to pin her to the ground, or do you want to just wrap your arms around her?
I think just jumping, pinning, just tackling basically.
Okay, yeah, go for it. So,
that would be like an athletics check?
Yes.
Say?
Yes,
Okay.
please. This will be a contested roll here.
Okay. That is a 16.
She rolls a 5, so she is now grappled. Where's the grappled? We're going to say grappled and also prone. I'm going to say that since you're pinning her, that you're also prone now. As you throw yourself at her.
Yeah, I think we like slide into the wall, like denting the wall.
Yeah.
A bit. And Kyungbo is just like looks on the ground, looks over at Suho, and doesn't really know what to do. And that's gonna be Kyungbo's turn.
Smiles.
Okay.
That's turn.
All right. You see that this creature that was the lady turns their head towards you, Kyungbo, and you hear another unearthly wail as they bring up their hands, and they have a multi-attack. They bring them down, boosh, boosh, with 2 slams. That is a dirty 20 and a 16. What is your armor class?
Is a 17.
Okay.
So first one hits, second miss.
You take 5 bludgeoning damage here, as with supernatural strength, enough to knock my hat back. Boosh! There is a crack that forms a very, very fine line in the wood of your arm here as she tries to fight against you. Not necessarily to wrangle free, but trying to physically harm you and shove you off. That will be her turn. Suho, it is now your turn.
I'll smile at this. I'm giggling the whole time and laughing at the whole thing. And I was like, okay, all right. Let me stop before someone gets hurt. And I will yell out while I'm casting a spell. That body's looking kind of mangled. I don't think you want to be in there for like quite much longer. And I will cast a spell on the lady, and it will be sleep.
Ooh. Okay. What does this look like as you put her to sleep?
As I'm laughing at this whole matter, it becomes from a giggle to a mantic laugh. And then I will kind of spread my hands as my nails will grow. My hand becomes more feral, and my eye will shift into a really big red glow, and it'll be the left eye. And as it does, the lights from the candles will flicker out and then come back on as the spell shoots towards the lady of the house to put her to sleep.
Kyungbo, within your grip, this thrashing thing suddenly, with this spell, goes limp. You hear the gentle breathing, no longer haggard, no longer frothing, of the lady as she lays in your arms.
Crushed her. Crushed
She's-
her.
She's definitely still alive, though.
Don't worry, you did fine. And I will then walk my ink piece over, and I won't do anything. I'm just getting it in position. Actually, I'll put it here, and I will use that action instead of attacking with my ink piece to say, "Now come out. That body is useless to you." My voice goes from like a very like charming and smooth, calm to more raspy and annoyed, agitated.
Okay,
That'll be then my turn.
right. Effectively, we are no longer in combat unless someone wants to take a hostile action here. So we'll just pause the turn order for now, as the lady is just lying there. Whatever was inside of her or is inside of her doesn't seem to hear or react to what Suho recommends.
I think Kyungbo is just still on the ground with the lady, like looking at the three, like trying to get some direction. Still just grappling and restraining the lady.
Well, if it's
Tashi's-
being stubborn, yeah.
Tashi's going to bring over the hairpin and bring it close and place it to the heart of the creature, or the heart of the woman, rather, and just lay it there and say, "Was this yours?"
In the closeness, you can tell that the magical sleep is powerful and it is essentially overwhelming. But I will say that even in her sleep, as she feels a familiar weight and the familiar scent of it, her hand does gently reach for it and just press it against her chest, almost as if to try to keep it there. She's definitely asleep and not able to verbally respond.
Well, if you want to wake her up, any of you can.
Should we tie her down a little bit? Or
Start shaking. Starts shaking the lady. Oh, wake up.
Hold on, I have to read the description for sleep. I think you have to slap them awake. Oh, you just use an action to shake, yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. As
Wake up,
you
lady.
shake her awake, you hear an unearthly wail as the creature tries to fight against you again.
Ah!
Well,
We're
we
back in
tried to
turn
be-
order.
We tried to be calm and collective.
For fun,
Have to
let's
beat
do
it out of her.
some new initiative rolls here, just to shake things up a bit. Make sure you select your token and then roll initiative. That is a 9 from the lady, a 12 from Kengbu, a 4 for Kyungbo. Suho is 21, and a 14 for Tashi. Okay. Suho, you are first to react.
Well, I tried to be nice.
She is on the floor. So ranged attacks do get disadvantage.
I'm gonna walk up here.
Okay.
I'm going to. I don't see it on here, but I guess it's just a regular attack. Where is it? I don't see my paintbrush on here.
It's underneath your short bow. right in the middle. And
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna take my ink brush, make it grow to a large size. I'm gonna bop her right on the head.
okay, do it.
Just gonna spin it and just hurry up, get out. Just slap her. Just because it's getting close to feeding time. Yes, exactly.
You're gonna like Bob Ross, like what? Beat the devil.
I meant to do this. There we go. 13.
Yeah, melee attacks get advantage. 13's absolutely a hit. Roll
Right,
some
that's
damage.
I
3
think it's three. I
damage.
think I rolled it. Yeah.
Okay.
Not trying to kill her or anything, and just I'm annoyed. I'm just get out, please.
Yeah, as you bop them on the head snaps towards you.
I must have my revenge.
Okay, tell us why. And then as I say that, I want the ink to then attack as well.
Okay.
Because its attacks lead to a grab if it does work. There's a reason why I want to do that. That's a 17.
That's a hit.
All right. So with this, on a hit, the creature must roll an athletics or acrobatics check against your spell DC, which is 14. On a failure, they are grappled. I may spend an action the next turn and try to escape. There's a reason why I wanted to grab her, even though she's already grabbed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll your damage here. You can click on the word attack underneath Ink Slam. In the chat.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh,
Ooh,
goodness gracious.
acid damage. Jeez, that's 11 acid damage. All right,
Tried to be nice.
So this save is going to be at disadvantage here. 12.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Yeah,
What was your
12.
DC?
14.
Okay, so it fails. It's already grappled. There is no such thing as double grappled, but for RP's sake, ink is actually physically touching her now. So it's 11 damage. Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah, I did that to free Kimbo. It's like, obviously we're not the real target here. We need to bring the husband back in, and you're free to do so. The ink will then take, instead of like having this like a little humanoid form, it'll spread out into black ink to hold her down.
Yeah. You can see that this creature is now thrashing in almost like a puddle of this ink creature. Okay. Hashi, it is your turn.
How is the lady looking?
Physically, you can tell that she has taken all of this damage in a way that she would definitely not be able to. You get the sense that perhaps on a normal day, the lady is a non-combatant, and with all of your combined efforts, definitely has taken a sense of like supernatural endurance is also at play here. So the body looks pretty bloody, but not to the point of like the body is broken or anything like that.
Could I hold my turn to the end of this initiative round just to see what happens? I want to exercise some patience.
Okay. So something that you can do here is you can ready an action. And to do that, you have to essentially choose a trigger and then what you will do. So you could say something like, if she attacks, I want to respond with my own attack.
Okay.
So we can't delay the initiative order here, but you can delay what you want to do by calling it in advance.
Okay. I would like to, if she manages to break out or attack any of my friends, I would like to hold a sneak attack for that.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely do that. Hengbu, it is your turn.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll say, tell us what you seek, spirits, and quickly. And I'll ready an action as well. If she attacks, I'll cast an Eldritch Blast.
Okay. The creature says,
My name is An Byung-Jun. I must have my revenge.
Byung-jun.
You can see that the creature's still thrashing, trying to claw its way out of this ink puddle that is holding it down. Looks very violent. I'm sorry, you said you wanted to hold your action. What was the trigger?
If she attacks.
Okay.
Or if the spirit attacks.
Okay. The lady will... Oh, it's so unlucky that Kyungbo goes after her. The lady from the ground is going to try to... Let's see. Has 4 targets here. Oh, nice. Is actually going to try to lash out at Tashi, trying to aim for your ankles. So this is going to be at disadvantage because she's on the ground. You have a multi-attack. Slam, slam. Does a 13 or a 9 hit you?
Let's see. Oh, it's taking forever to load.
No worries.
It does not.
Okay. You see it's a very telegraphed move, a swiping of the hands, and you're literally able to just sidestep and jump out of the way dexterously. That will be her turn. However, that is also a trigger there. You wanted to do something if she attacks somebody, and then we'll resolve Tashi's and then Kangbu's.
Okay, so with the arm that she just attacked with, going to go like along the tendon of that too with my rapier once more.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
That is a...
And at melee, this is going to be at advantage.
And Stella, I would like to also use a reaction as well on this.
Okay.
Once King Boo does their blast.
Yeah, absolutely. 17 is a hit. Go ahead and roll some non-lethal damage for me. Holy shit. Okay, that's 15 damage. Oh my god. All right. You do a devastating blow here, and it looks like she probably can't take something like that again. Hangbu, your ready to action will trigger here. What would you like to do?
All right. Yeah, I'll fire off that Eldritch Blast.
Okay. It is at disadvantage because she's on the ground. A 14 still hits, though. Please roll me some damage. 5 damage here. 6 damage. Okay, perfect. You clip her on the shoulder. You can see that there is a moment here where she is about to just jerk up and attempt to slash at Tashi again, but your Eldritch Blast hits her in the shoulder and flattens her to the ground, making this seek no purchase whatsoever. Kyungbo, you wanted to do a reaction here.
Yeah, so I have another stratagem ability called So Panic. When an enemy that can see or hear me misses an attack against a creature within 60 feet, I make a contested intimidation check against their insight check. And I add my stratagem die to that roll.
Okay.
On a failure, they're frightened of that creature for 1 minute.
Okay.
18 plus my intimidation is 4, so that's a 22
Okay.
against their insight.
Okay. Their insight is 12.
Okay, so I think as I am pinning Lady Lee on the ground, or should I say on Byung-jun on the ground, I say, Spirit on Byung-jun, let me recommend you one thing. Let Lady Lee go, and we're gonna have a much better time together.
You see the fight beginning to leave her here.
That's all I asked. That's all I asked. We just came here for a conversation.
Okay. Anything else for you?
No, I guess. Oh, is it my turn as well?
Yes, now it's your turn.
Okay. Okay. I think I just kind of like seeing Lady Lee fall asleep and get back up and start fighting again, even though Lady Lee starts like relaxing. I think I just get on top of her and just punch her as hard as I can in the face.
Okay.
We just came here to talk.
All right. You can see a measure of fear in her eyes, or the creature's eyes. You can see that there is you saw her when she was conscious. That clarity has been clouded by some kind of otherly presence. It's kind of like how when you look someone in the eyes and they don't look like themselves. That is absolutely at play here. All right, go ahead and roll this bonk.
Yeah, would you allow me to like use my like weapon like attack modifier and stuff for this and like damage, even though I'm just socking her in the face?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Because she's restrained with advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is not very good. That's only a 12.
That hits. That's her armor class.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So 2d6 plus 3 bludgeoning. 2 4s. So that's 8 plus 3, so 11 bludgeoning. We came here to talk, lady.
You
Whack.
punch her. That's so funny because 4 hit points is all she had left. You punch her, and as you hear that meaty thwack of, I guess, of wood against her face, silence falls over the room. That is the end of combat.
Chop, bring in the Lord, please.
And I just bite my tongue at that point.
Oh, Chop, don't bring in the Lord, please. We
There's this
still
moment.
have work to do.
You see the moment there's like Chop's face appears in the doorway and then just like slowly sinks away.
Oh.
Now comes the next part, remember? We have to do what we came here to do. We have to exercise this spirit.
Is that? Oh, that is that?
Newbies how it's done?
I look towards Bingbo and I say, "Can you assist me?
Of course.
Aromas may help. To do a ritual, everyone.
Drops the lady on the ground and takes a step back.
Okay.
As there's a thud, I look over and then I look around. And normally I'm very calm and this is easy and it's part of the process, but body's pretty beat up. So I'm just like, can you whip up some kind of aromas of some sort? Something welcoming.
Sure. Yeah, I reach into I pick up my spice pack and all of that sort of, and I pull out a clove of garlic. I
Ooh.
think this will be suitable.
Perfect. Okay, so this, instead of me just doing this, I'm gonna have everyone participate.
Yes.
I'm going to. Yes.
So I'll say that you'll be able to do this at advantage. We'll get the help action from everybody as they participate.
Great. All right, everyone, just like we always do. I'm struggling a little because of the sight of this. It's still a human in front of me, and they're all just helpless and bleeding all over the place and lacerations. So I'm really trying to hold myself back. In my head, I'm thinking, will they really be missing a liver? And I will create foxfires, 9 of them to be exact. And these will float slowly down towards the lady of the house. I'll look towards Tashi and everyone else and say, all right, let's begin. Because I want to start to perform an exorcism. And I have been looking for this on my sheet this whole time.
Okay, so the exorcism ability is part of the mudang specialties. So for our game, we have it in a handout. You want to scroll all the way to the bottom in the handouts folder. So exorcism. Exorcising spirits typically requires an intelligence check, but PCs can substitute intelligence with another ability score as appropriate. For example, they can use strength or dexterity as a part of their ritual to channel spiritual power into their bodies to quell the spirits physically. Wisdom or charisma to compel them through your own spiritual power or innate presence. PCs will still need proficiency in either nature or religion to gain a proficiency bonus to their skill check, however. So you...
Religion or nature, okay.
Yeah. So with this, you have been practicing this, you have trained for this, and especially with the assistance of the others, you can make this look like however you want. You can take total creative liberty here. It is meant to be a ritual, so it is something that's going to take like 10 minutes essentially to do. And you can do whatever you need to for the environment in order to make this check. So paint me a picture of what this looks like.
I think since we've done this multiple times together, so I would have Tashi do their specialty, maybe even making an illusion of a flower field of some sort. As I'm lumbering over this lady of the house, I start to like take a different form. My arms will elongate and the shadows will dance. 9 tails will fly out. And each one of those foxfires will sit amidst the top of each tail. My maw will grow agape. As I'm going to use charisma as my modifier, and the hunger will take over. It's like a mental battle for me, but it's more so in intimidating the spirit to come out. It's like I'm looking through a sixth sense, looking past the physical and into the spiritual realm. And I can only do this in my other form. And with this, I will take my claws and I will dig into the lady, but it won't be into her flesh. It's more of like a spiritual cleansing, as I will try to use my charisma to rip at it as the aromas fill the air. And who else is with me? Who else is around? Okay. Kimbo, I will just, obviously I would say hold her down as this happens.
Okay. So, as you all move together into performing this exorcism, Suho, I need you to make a check for me. Let's see. Proficiency to gain a proficiency bonus. Okay.
I do have religion as well.
So,
Religion
at level 3, your proficiency bonus is going to be a +2. So choosing one of your ability scores, probably your charisma, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if you click on the word charisma above your +4 there, it'll roll it in the chat. And we'll add a +2 to the roll here. 15. Okay. As you perform this as a group, taking liberties of the space and clearing out any candles that are in the way, some of the debris from the broken floorboards and the mattress, you just kick them aside and you command this space. A perfume of garlic permeates the air. You see a twinkling of flowers that are not quite here, not quite there, whispering at the feet of this subdued being. With an exhale, almost like a soft breath, you see dark shadows pouring out of her body, and they begin to seep between the cracks of the walls where there used to be grooves. You see them disappear to the earth below. You see a few wisp out of the door where Chop Chop was only moments before. Then, only then, do you see the body completely relax. Sweat beads down the lady's face. She finally gets to sleep comfortably tonight. It is about then that Lord Juan enters into the room. Essentially, his hand pushed back, trying to create distance from him and Chop Chop, as Chop Chop insists on trying to protect him and pull him out of the room, panting like a dog. You see Lord Juan exhale. A number of guards slowly coming in, and one by one, each of the candles begins to be extinguished by their hands. Oh, it seems that you have managed to end things quickly. What noise? What sounds? He looks around at the devastation. There are marks of where spells have missed. Visible dent where the ink piece had slammed itself into the floorboard here. He curls his lip. He looks quite displeased, but he says, "Thank you." He slowly pulls up a coin pouch, holding it out to Kengbu as you are closest to him.
I bow my head and accept the pouch. Thank you.
Well, now that there is peace on my home, I must insist that you stay the night, just to make sure that she will be fine in the morning. In case there's any more of this funny business, I'd like to make sure that we close the chapter on this. We have many guest rooms here, and it is very, very late. Will you stay and be my honored guests? I'm sure you have many questions for the lady when she rises in the morning.
Actually, I have a question for you, if you have the time.
He tilts his head.
Does the name An Byung-jun ring any bells?
Ah. He blinks at you, almost as if he hasn't thought of or heard of this name in a long time. Huh. I know who An Byung-jun is. I haven't heard from him since his last trip back to Azhadar. We were friends at one time. We had a falling out over work.
Interesting. Well, he was just here. You just missed him.
Can I do an insight check on Lord Juan as he says?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
can I do that as
Anybody?
well?
Yes, please. I'm
That's
sure
a
there's
5.
nothing weird there.
Sure.
No way.
Ooh.
I got a 5.
5, okay. A 6 from Suho. 13
13.
from Kengbu.
Is it insight or investigation? Insight, right?
Insight, please. Oh, you can roll, 23 insight. Ooh, okay, spicy. All right, I will say that you can tell that his nerves are pretty high. A lot just happened right here. It is definitely not an insignificant thing that this was a very, very violent possession. The room is tore up. It stinks in here. There's devastation. And the lady is going to be so sore for quite some time. So it makes sense that his nerves are high. Hashi, however, with your 23, you feel like there's something missing here. There was a hesitance, there was a pause. You could smell suspicion. Thing is, though, you don't have any evidence, and you don't have a full story, you would know that, especially with these aristocratic folk, people of positions of power, they have a way of disrupting things. And if you don't have all of the evidence, making a very public claim here could very well be a bad idea.
Really noted. Lord Juan, we would be so honored to spend the night. We just have one humble request. Sometimes... What is... Okay. Sometimes Jup gets a little bit restless at night, and it helps him when we all sleep in one room together. Would that be something that can be arranged?
You can see he's actively trying to hold Chop back. He says, yes, that is preferable in this case. We can absolutely make such an arrangement. He looks over at the door, and you can see that dwarven woman again. She bows her head. Yun will guide you to the guest chamber. Please make your way there, and we will speak again in the morning.
I will prefer, as I readjust myself, I'm trying to adjust myself the whole time while they're talking, to administer some help for the lady when she wakes up, so she's less appealing. I mean, less hurt.
Yes. You have magical healing powers? Is this one of the things that you do?
And I'll turn my head slowly and just have a giant smile on my face.
Fine. Yun will get you in the morning as soon as she wakes up.
I could also help maybe bandage her up right now.
Yes, please. And he makes a very dismissive gesture of his hand as he begins to step out. The guards do stay in the room here.
Lord Juan.
Yes?
I'm sorry you lost a friend. That can be really hard.
See, he stands there, his hand on the door jamb. He's looking down at the ground, and then he looks at you. Yes. Then he walks away.
I will, with Tashi, I will do healing word on So-Hyun.
Okay.
And let me see, what level is it? It's level 1. I'm gonna do it at a level 2. I'm sure we're gonna rest anyway.
Okay. So she heals for 9 here. You can see that. Actually, describe to me what your healing magic looks like.
Typically, a lot of my magic is red and violent looking, but this one's soothing blue, blue and green, like a very soft, almost pastel. It looks painted. I will take my brush and I will draw an emblem on her forehead and then strike it down to the wounds in quick manner, almost like I'm painting a picture, and that will go over the wounds and eventually close the more serious ones.
You see that she begins to breathe softer. She doesn't wake. She's in a deep restorative sleep here. The magic...
Bandage as well.
I'm going to take strips of cloth that I've rolled up and just try to bind her, open wounds, tight her a little bit so that they may close.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll medicine at advantage here, please.
I wish there was a way to pin the character sheet open so that it
Mhm.
doesn't do the big loading thing every time I want to look at stuff.
Yes. So there actually is a way to do it. So there's like a header bar at the top where there's like the X and the like magnifying glass.
Oh, there's a pop out. Okay.
There's a pop out, and then if you double click the name of it, you can minimize it, so it's transparent.
Oh, that's incredible. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes. Okay. Medicine check with advantage. Banana.
Okay, a 16. You are practiced with this. You've done this before. You know exactly what you're doing, and you make pretty quick work of it. And looking at the magic that has been taking place from Suho's efforts, she already looks so much better. You can tell that a lot of the bruising is already beginning to subside. All of those incisions that you made earlier are pretty much gone. There are only ghosts of them on her person. You get the sense that maybe in a week she'll be back to normal. She's not sweating anymore. She's doing a lot better. What you've done here tonight has helped a lot.
I give a light elbow to Suho and I say, "We'll get you a big dinner tonight."
All I can think about is the villagers.
Okay. So, as the group of you are brought into a private chamber, you have a moment to yourselves as you begin to ready yourselves for the night. Before Suho and Tashi go off to find some dinner, is there anything that the group of you want to say or do together?
I don't know. I'm new to the mudang thing. Is that how it usually goes?
Less violent, but violent spirit sometimes calls for violence to be answered with violence. As long as the host isn't destroyed, we typically can make him come back from a bad spot.
Do the spirits have a reason to do this?
I look towards Gangbo and say, "You're better at the spirits than I am. You understand all those dark ones."
Well, it varies. Revenge, as the spirit said. Usually there's something keeping them on this plane, holding them back, bothering them. It can be minute, it can be severe. Really, you'll see everything.
Is it our job to figure out why they came here, or is it just our job to exercise?
Well, for me, it makes it easier to know.
I typically go with whatever she wants.
Well, I'm glad we helped.
You did good.
I will point out that he doesn't seem to care much about his wife.
He
The
doesn't.
condition she was in is quite silent.
You'll hear footsteps and a knock at the door, and Yun, the dwarven handmaiden, will appear, and she's brought some extra blankets and some towels and some water, and she essentially helps ready your room for the night. She says, "It might not be my place to say, but thank you for all of your help. It warms my heart to know that my lady can sleep and rest well tonight."
Has she slept well before this all started? Forgive my bluntness.
I would say just as well as anybody else.
That's That's reassuring.
Yes.
And Lady, I don't need any blankets, but if you have some flowers or herbs, maybe a bit of food for a small offering to my town.
Yes. Oh, she seems to realize what exactly you are now, and sort of something clicks. I will absolutely get something together for you.
Thank you.
She bows very deeply from the hips to you. If there's nothing else, then I wish you good night.
Jan, if you could bring cabbages or radishes, whatever extra vegetables you may have in the pantry, I would appreciate it.
Yes, of course. I'll get those right away.
And before you go, Lady Yon, if there's anything else the mudang can help here, anything else we should know, please let us know.
She looks thoughtful, but she answers pretty quickly and she says, "Thank you. I will keep that in mind." And then she leaves. You see, as the rest of the night pans on, that various items are brought to you. Youngbo, you have a moment here to set up an offering. Tell me what this looks like. Take total creative liberty. Where do you do it?
Yeah, I think that typically Kyungbo prefers to sleep. Well, I guess not sleep, but rest underneath the stars. Soil underneath their feet, but in a strange place in someone else's home, Kyungbo has learned that there are rules and things to operate by. So Kyungbo has found a corner out of the way, and I think Kyungbu often assists with some light cooking of whatever they have available. And I think it's a small, brief, quick thing that Jop Jop and Kyungbo have learned to do together. Small flowers typically are picked from the wildflowers out in the open. Berries, herbs, whatever is available in the area. And I think this is a quite special rest here for Kyungbo, experiencing what they did today. So Jop Jop and Kyungbo work silently, and I think Kyungbu knows where to place their foods and offerings, whatever they decide to make.
Kyungbu, you're able to make some quick kimchi for the road. You know that with time, it'll only just get better and more sour. It's very fresh right now. Yep.
I think I try to watch on and talk to Kimpu as he works on making this kimchi, because I also have a fascination with just fermented things. And I say, good things always take time. Yes.
Indeed, especially food.
What do you like to do with your kimchi?
Well, I can't tell you all my secrets, but
Of course not.
I like to make sure there's a healthy amount of spice in mine personally.
Good man.
Yes. It should be ready. We could try it overnight or in a couple of days, whenever you guys get hungry.
I can't wait to try.
Kyungbu, as you're in the flow here of cooking, what do we see? What does Kyungbu feel? What is the energy of this moment as you're preparing food and helping Kyungbo?
Yeah, you see Kangbu's sort of tense and rigid posture relax a little bit. He feels in his element. You see him sort of multitasking comfortably around the fire, preparing the food for the ritual, creating the kimchi, salting the vegetables. He seems to breathe a little bit easier, and the scowl sort of fades away from his face. Not a smile, but sort of enjoying the moment in his own way.
Vegetables given to you are fresh. They are delicious. As you sample while you're working, you know that this is going to be an excellent... Actually, let's roll. No, we're going to roll for it. I'm not going to give that to you for free. All right, go ahead. Go ahead and roll me your culinary tools, your cook's utensils.
What attribute is that for?
This is up to you. I'm willing to take suggestions here as long as you can tell me how that's appropriate.
I guess I'll just do intelligence for knowledge of food, how to prepare it, so on and so forth.
Okay, like a very technical approach to the construction of this batch. Okay, I will give you advantage because you have very good supplies to use here.
Okay.
Okay, 19. You sample the work as you're going, and you can tell this is going to be a very good batch of kimchi. This is going to be reinvigorating, it's going to be hydrating, and it's going to be very good for your gut flora as well. As you're making this, there's a significance in your cooking, something that you're lacking. Do we see signs of this in your cooking? Is it almost as if what you're missing isn't even playing a part here?
I think for this dish, he's made it frequently enough that it's almost automatic to him. So he's not necessarily noticing the nuances of refining the taste.
Okay.
Or being creative with it.
Okay. Yeah, it's a perfect standard batch of kimchi.
Yeah.
I think as King Boo brings it over to Kyungbo goes, how does it taste?
Seems like any other kimchi to me for now, but let it ferment, I think.
Okay. Me and Jop eat a lot, but we don't really taste much.
Well,
we don't even need to eat, but it's fun.
I agree. It's the best pleasure, in my opinion.
Thank you, King Boo.
Of course.
For the last scene of the night, you see a shadow leave the hanok. You see a swift and slim figure moving between shadows, prowling in the darkness. You don't have a lot of time before the sun is going to rise. You are alone. You know what you're doing. Your nostrils flare. What's on the menu for tonight?
As we were coming in, and those were sleeping their eyes on us, typically ignore villagers. They don't seem hardy enough. Sometimes I like going after the ones that are greedy and not so careful with what they do. There was one in particular that was boring into us, that said something that was not really nice. I noticed that it was towards... Was it towards all of us or just Tosh?
It was to all of you.
That individual as I looked and I snapped my neck towards them and smiled and my eyes glared deep. Seemed like they had a problem with their wine. Maybe indulge a little too much. I'm gonna pay that person a visit.
You see silhouette of Suho as she tests the doorknob of a home. You hear the of a door open, and Suho slips inside. The last frame of today's session runs red. And that is where we're going to end our game for tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for the premiere and episode 1 of Undying Corruption. This is sponsored by Nine Heavens Press. Thank you so very much for this wonderful opportunity to share this beautiful, intricate, fascinating world of Danguk as we go about the various tasks required of us being mudang of this realm. We're going to go around and say our goodbyes for tonight. Please tell me who you are, where we can find you, and what your favorite part of today's episode was. We're going to go ahead and start with Faria.
Ooh, all right. Hi, I'm Fariha. I've been Tashi, and oh my gosh, this world is so rich. And I feel like it facilitates such incredible roleplay. And I loved getting to meet all your characters and just like see the dynamics as we bounce off of each other. This was such a treat. Thank you, Stella. Thank you so much, everybody. I cannot wait to play more of this with you all. You can find me at twitch.tv/Fariha or also a YouTube channel by the same name where I do a large variety of content focused on good storytelling, learning, and it's just so many skills. Yes, all the skills, Skill Monkey. And ask Fariha on Instagram and TikTok, everywhere else. But my favorite part of today, God, that's such a hard thing to pick. I think, honestly, seeing the little dark sides of all of our characters and seeing like the little intricacies and getting to know that there's so much more underneath the surface of just like the little things that people would say of like, why in the world is Suho so hungry? why is Kengbu always wearing that deep frown? Why is it that Kyungbo seems so eager for, I guess, just approval and community and friendship? And yeah, no, it was the little things for me that really made today.
Thank you so much. Please follow all of the links here in chat as we are saying our goodbyes for the evening. We'll pass it on over to Brandon.
Yes. So I am Brandon. I have played Kyungbo here and for the future. Man, well, you can find me Brandon R. Kim on socials. And yeah, make tabletop stuff, content. I do like a March Madness thing where I battle monsters. It's a lot of fun. But today, man, I think just I feel the end, being able to, after seeing all my fellow PCs interact with the world, to be able to interact together and to really feel like this, this world is lived in and we've lived in with each other, and to kind of discover where we will take this story, the narrative, and our relationships to ourselves and the world. Super excited.
Thank you so much. Also, our first time playing together. That was really exciting. Thank you for being part of the table. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
I love the energy that you brought with Kyungbo. Oh my god. As soon as you started role-playing, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I love it. Thank you. We'll hop on over to Kay.
Hello. I'm Replay K, aka K. You can find me on Twitch and Bluesky at ReplayK, and other platforms. I think it's replay_K. Check their link tree. I like to do variety gaming, so RPGs, card games, roguelikes, I think are my favorites. And then every once in a while, I like to yap about movies because I like movies. This is my first time doing D&D on stream, so that was super exciting. Fantastic group to do it with. Grateful to be here. Yeah, I think my favorite moment is, we came up with these characters a little in advance, of course. So there's the concepts of them, but it was really fascinating to see what they sounded like, how they move through the world, how they interact with the world. Just fascinating to see, and I look forward to seeing how our relationships with each other develop and with the world as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And also our first time playing together. I'm very excited. There's so many interesting things about your character that I cannot wait for us to find out as an audience and as a party. Yes. Thank you very much. And then we'll hop on over to Technique. Hello.
Hello, I'm Technique or Frank, and you can find all my links under that. I have a link tree. I forgot I had one. Almost always on Twitch and Bluesky. If you want to converse, don't be afraid. Come say hi. The story's awesome. I really love the feel of it. So they did a beautiful job with the overlay, and the map is probably one of my favorite things because it felt very authentic and it was like fabric. It just had that wholesome and warmness to it that was a custom, and it brought me closer to the table. Stuff like that is very important. A lot of people don't. Some people just miss on that. Enjoyed this cast so very much. It's very natural. It's kind of hard to gauge people's comfortability when it comes to improvisation and stuff like that. There's no scripts, and everyone did fantastic, and I felt very comfortable around you all. So thank you very much. It made me feel very welcomed. This means more to me than natural eye because it's granted it's not Korean, it's not a part of my culture, but the Asian culture in general is so my culture, and I just love sharing the table with all of you. It made me feel very much at home. My favorite part is, yes, I like the fact that we're not all good guys and gals. It's like we have a job, we do our job, but I still Suho still lives the life that he is what he is. Tries to be respectful. He's very respectful of his peers for the most part, and won't do the dirty in front of them, or at least tries to hold himself back, try to really show that off. But I think has I love the trust between Tashi and Suho, because it's like understanding, but don't want to strip the innocence from Kyungbo, and definitely feels a little bit more of, even though they have the seniority thing, they still want to make sure that they for some reason really want to respect Kyungbu and all the stuff that they do, and respects the cooking and all that stuff. So always wants to make sure that, is it okay for me to do this type thing? Anytime before they make an action, it's kind of looks towards them to make sure that the frown is not more of a frown towards them. Yeah, so it's a balance, and I love the tug and war between everyone, and how everybody's very protective of each other in their own little ways. So, an excellent story. I love the storytelling. It was great. You always do a fantastic job building a world, and it's very easy to envision. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Stella Luna on Twitch, Stella Luna TV on all other social media. I'm a TTRPG producer and performer, so I do this all the time. If you want to find more of my work, most of it's going to be up to date over on my Bluesky at stellaluna.tv. Otherwise, you'll see me here on twitch.tv/StellaLuna doing all kinds of TTRPGs. We will be back with the next episode of Undying Corruption on the 19th, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time will be episode 2. We will also be doing another giveaway there. Please use !enter to enter the digital giveaway that we're doing on the stream here. I'm going to be wrapping up the giveaway now, and then we'll draw a winner. So keep an eye on that enter. And again, please check out Black Market Guide to Immortality. There is a page that is up right now for you to bookmark for information when it goes live. You'll find out more information in the summertime. It's coming up really, really quick. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, and we'll see you next time. Bye!